Hello everyone and welcome. In this video I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on episode 2 of season 5 of Fear the Walking Dead. As always is the norm in my videos, I won't be holding back on any spoilers, so please do keep that in mind. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin. After what I thought was a pretty solid season premiere, I have to say that sadly Fear the Walking Dead seems to have returned to its old ways by giving us an episode that is equally as nonsensical as it is boring. The awful dialogue from last season has returned with a vengeance, and characters seem to keep doing stupid things without me really understanding why. And to be honest, I'm kind of already regretting agreeing to review this show for the entire season. Maybe instead of reviewing Fear the Walking Dead, I should learn to play the accordion instead.
When will I be able to play the accordion?
Accordion is funny because it's an accordion. In fact, it's so funny, why don't we use that joke 3 times in this episode? Genius!
Only need one hand to operate the radio. It's not like I'm playing the accordion.
And it's not from the drugs. The accordion stuff is from the drugs.
So yeah, the dialogue does leave an awful lot to be desired. For example, I really liked the conversation between Morgan and Alicia that happened last week, but the conversation that they had towards the end of this week's episode was pretty damn awful. Alicia, a door will open. You gotta open a door to new people. You gotta invest in your door. Paint your door. Make sure your door looks good. Are you okay, Morgan? Why are you talking about doors? You can't just have one door, you hear me? You gotta have multiple doors. Have them open all the time. Okay, Morgan. You gotta open your door to me, Alicia. Open your back door to Uncle Morgan. Oh, Jesus, no! Okay, that wasn't quite how it went down, but Fear the Walking Dead's characters do have this really annoying habit of speaking like wannabe poets, and it's just so frustrating to watch. Besides engaging in riveting conversations about doors, Morgan spends much of his time looking for Al, at which point he comes across Grace, a new character on the show. Now, Grace was working at a nearby power plant when everything went to shit, and the long and short of it is that there was some kind of incident at the power plant which caused everyone to die, and all these dead people are now roaming around as radioactive walkers. Grace mentions that these radioactive walkers can be identified by a dosimeter that is dangling around their neck, and they mustn't be touched in fear of contamination. Now, this is quite a cool idea in theory. I mean, it's kind of like the Whisperers in The Walking Dead in that it makes the walkers dangerous again, but in actual reality, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So the radioactive walkers are identified by a dosimeter on their person, but what happens if they lose this? I mean, walkers move around a lot, that's why they're called walkers and not sitter downers, and maybe they're going to bump into someone or something and it's going to come off. So it's not like these dosimeters are going to stay on them forever. It just feels to me like the writers have created a situation whereby they put these dosimeters on them so the walkers can basically be on screen and say, look, I'm radioactive, don't come near me, and that makes it easy for us as viewers to identify them. But sadly, it kind of just feels a bit lazy. Also, surely wouldn't these walkers contaminate other walkers by bumping into them anyway? Meaning that them having this dosimeter on them is pretty pointless anyway, because surely most of them are all radioactive by now, have some radioactive residue on them. My point is, radioactive walkers does seem like a pretty cool idea, but it just doesn't play out like it, and it just creates a lot of problems. As for Grace, I really did want to like her, but she's just like a female Morgan, and by that I mean she's a bit of an idiot. She's taken it upon herself to hunt down these radioactive walkers because she wants to make up for the things she's done, which is pretty much exactly what Morgan says. The main issue I have is that who exactly does she think she's saving by hunting down these radioactive walkers? The undead are everywhere, the world has gone to shit, you know, killing a few radioactive walkers isn't really going to make a difference in the long run to anyone. I'm just kind of sick of characters doing dumb things to try and atone for their past sins, and she's another one who does exactly that. Also, on the topic of radioactive walkers, there's a scene in which Morgan has to disinfect himself by taking a shower. Now, all I'm going to say is that I speak for the male population here. Gimple, you are a twat. You missed a massive opportunity to have Alicia, Deborah and Carey showering. What are you doing, man? If it was Alicia instead of Morgan showering in the scene, I would have given this episode a 10 out of 10. Anyway, I'll stop being a pervert, let's move on. John and June spend most of the episode looking for Al whilst Luciana holds the fort. Alicia informs John via the walkie that some walkers are radioactive and need to be avoided, at which point John says something along the lines of, "Oh, this place keeps getting friendlier and friendlier." And then June replies, "Well, that's why we're here." What? So they both agree to stay in this area and help everyone despite it being full of radioactive undead. Why? So our protagonists have to contend with regular undead, radioactive undead, and by the end of the episode there seems to be another group around who wants to try and intimidate our group. And they decide that this would make a great place to stay rather than, hitting the road and trying to go somewhere else. Because these people are very smart. Obviously. The final plot point that I want to talk about involves Strand meeting up with his old friend Daniel Salazar. As good as it is to see one of my favourite characters, Daniel, return, it just felt like his and Strand's meeting, it just felt a bit off. I mean, I'm glad that he didn't give Strand a plane, because why would he, considering the things that Strand done to him? But that aside, he just didn't feel like Daniel to me. Perhaps he's calmed down since the time skip, but Strand has screwed over Daniel multiple times, shot him in the face, left him for dead, and here he is just inviting him into his home and letting him go without as much as touching a hair on his head, which just felt very weird to me. I also have to wonder what role, if any, Daniel will play in the rest of the season. He seems quite happy where he is, he doesn't have any real reason to join the group, and with Dwight coming in the future episodes as well, is there really a place for him on the show anymore? I honestly don't know. I think that Fear's cast is feeling a bit crowded at the moment, and the only person I can see convincing him of joining the group is Alicia, so perhaps we will see these two interact with one another in the future. And I'm sure you'll be glad to know that I've only got a couple of complaints left. So firstly, where the hell is Charlie? I thought she was in the truck with Strand during the last episode, and I think we saw her at the camp, or their old denim factory camp, and she just isn't here at all, and no one seems to say where she's gone unless I missed something. I mean, personally, I'd never liked Charlie, so it's not a big issue, but yeah, it just seems a bit weird that she's not here and no one seems to know where she is or cares. Also, there's a scene where Luciana goes outside to investigate a noise, and then June calls her on the radio and says, "Oh no, Luciana, you shouldn't be going outside, you're not ready yet." And then immediately after that, Luciana feels, dizzy, ill, in pain, whatever, and collapses. And I just think it's a bit convenient that up until that point she was fine, and then as soon as June gets on the walkie and says, "Oh no, you shouldn't be going out," then suddenly she becomes over dizzy and ill, and it just felt really, really cheap and a bit too coincidental for me. So that's about it really. A bad episode that was devoid of any real logic. And I really hope that the rest of the season is better than this, because it's going to be torture reviewing the next 14 episodes if it's not. So there you go, let me know your thoughts below. Did you enjoy this episode more than I did? Did you think it was okay, or did you just about hate it as much as I do? Whatever your opinions, let me know below. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I don't know what that was about, but anyway, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, take care and goodbye.